Ladies and gentlemen of the Dawn of War 2 community, I have been reliably informed that you guys are in for a treat today with this upload. It has been long awaited, and Crisis, I hope you're fucking happy. Here it is. We've got Shakira at heart, also known as Blood Rain, rocking the Chaos Sorcerer, versus the Apothecary of Cry, also known as Crisis, on the bottom corner. This is a very long 1v1 game, and Cry really has advocated for it being casted, so I hope to God that it is decent. I think it must be, because it's quite long. So we'll see what happens. Already a bit of an unusual start, because players are not opting for the third unit, which is very rare actually. Very rare for both of them to do that. Really horrible first engagement here for the CSM. I mean, kudos to them to actually be facing in the correct direction, but it doesn't really matter because Tax are in green cover, so CSM need to get the hell out of there. They're just... I mean, they're not in risk of bleeding anytime soon. The damage does seem to be distributed quite evenly, but they're just not achieving anything right now. I guess they're delaying, but... yeah, I don't know. Doesn't really achieve much. So he goes for the Doom Bolts, sees if he can delay long enough, but obviously it's dodged by Crisis. Now the Tax are just getting the regen from the Apo, not really a whole lot's going to happen. This is so weird. Oh wow, that special was like 0.2 seconds too late to stop the decap. Ticks, honestly, probably should just retreat. They risk bleeding models. Honestly, getting kind of lucky there to not even bleed a single model. Forces the heal on the Apo, which is cool. Why do we not see any gens yet? What's going on? I guess Crisis is just going for fast ASM. Obviously he has the power for it at the moment. He must just be saving up the requisition. And nice Marines for Blood Rain. Interesting. I wonder why he's going for Noise Marines. Maybe he expects that there's a load of gens because he's only seeing 2 units. But actually this is like a really fast ASM. I don't know if this is optimal now because it's all changed because of the changes to the ASM costs. Historically it was always optimal to go for your 2 scouts and your tax and then get 2 power nodes, and that would give you your ASM at the optimal speed, but I don't know. Or maybe that wasn't the case. Maybe that just gave you the ASM at the optimal speed if you went 2 scouts, because it was deemed that you would always want to go 2 scouts because you need it for the map control anyway. I'm not sure, but either way this is a really horrible engagement now for the Space Marines. They just need to get out of there. Oh, he does actually drop attack to the Doom Bolts. Brutal. Power of the Doom Bolts right there. Now there's just too much shit here. Oh, the ASM are coming to try and save the Apo. If only the Apo had Sanguine Chainsword in this moment, he'd be sorted, but... yeah, I guess there's not really any anti-melee at this point. The 2 range units are tied up, so... Sorcerer's not going to do much, not if it's Doom Bolts. So he actually wins that engagement, does Cry. Fair play. Shotguns up on this side, they're going to do some trolling against the Heretics. Obviously, it takes them a very long time to kill the Heretics. The thing with the Heretics as well, when they get that AC, he actually does decent range damage, as you can see. Actually doing quite a good amount to the scouts while chasing them. Definitely some potential for a bit of model bleed there.
Who among us arrives? We have the advantage for now.
Okay. We still see absolutely no gens for Cry. What? Is he going for double ASM? He is! Absolute fucking madman. Double ASM against Chaos Sorcerer. That is wild. I would not do that. Don't get me wrong, obviously the Apo can support ASM really well, but not against the CS. In Tier 2, when he gets the Robes of Torment, it's a nightmare. Because you can't even jump out of the Robes of Torment, that's the problem. So if he just baits your ASM in, uses the Chains of Torment, and then gets Bloodletters or a K-Dread on you, wow, you're screwed. That was a weird Doom Bolts. I mean, I get that he was probably trying to bait the Tax to move back, but that wouldn't have even hit them anyway, it was miles off. Anyway. Second ASM is out now. Do we see double AC ticks? Yeah, we do. That's pretty conventional. No Sergeant yet on these scouts. Obviously this is way more expensive for Cry. The thing is, in theory it should scale well, like the ASM themselves will scale better than anything that Blood Rain's got in his army, but the problem is that the Chaos Sorcerer scales so well at dealing with melee, and Chaos in general. Chaos get a lot better against melee in tier 2 when they can field things like Cage Res and Bloodletters. They are actually quite vulnerable in tier 1, I mean, they rely on the AC ticks to deal with the melee, and you know, they do a good job in isolation, but the problem is that they themselves are really vulnerable to, well, to a lot of things, to suppression, to AoE damage, to knockback. Anything that can manually like proc a special attack, it's going to do a lot of damage. Flame attacks have come out, nice little timing push here, going to get at least 1 gen. Honestly, might even get 2. We've seen any upgrades for the Sorcerer, we do not. So there's no teleport onto them. Unfortunately, they have to reload there, but that's fine, 1.5 gens damaged. I think that's worth it. I like the flame attacks anyway against Chaos. They do really good damage against the Heretics because of the AoE damage. Ooh, nice Purification Rites heal there. Sends those AC ticks flying, and the Sorcerer as well. Both the ASMs jump around. This one takes a lot of damage from the Doom Bolts, but he's not going to drop a model, and the heal's going to be there soon. So actually, Cry's going to finish off the Bash. Now the thing is, he has invested way more into his tier 1. Not opting for not only 90 power into his ASM, but the extra, is it 20 or 25 on Purification Rites, and 15 on the attacks, and does he get a Sergeant? No, he didn't, thank God. So the long and short of it is that he is going to be behind in tech quite significantly. He hasn't even started tier 2, he's nowhere near it in fact. Oh wow, great to get out there with 3 models. Unfortunately he doesn't finish off the node, but it's not really a big deal. Probably better to not lose any models at this point. He really needs to get to tier 2 ASAP. And if Bleed sets him back, that's going to be horrible. See, Ticks aren't even willing here to take the fight against the ASM because they know there's potential that another heal will be coming out. I mean, to be honest, the heal was never going to come out due to the energy there, so I think that actually could have been a fight that the AC Ticks took. But then again, I guess you're bleeding models where the ASM won't, they'll just like jump out of it. So I don't know. You can't just not fight the ASM though when it's a decent trade. And once again, they get out with 3 models. But the problem is that Cry isn't even going tier 2 and there's a Blood Crusher on the field. Now, it's obviously amazing that Cry got that Gem Bash. Honestly, if he didn't get that Gem Bash, this game would probably be over. Because just more and more crazy shit would be coming out from the Chaos side. You know, we see Zinch Marines already, we're getting that Plasma Gun with their AC. We see Bloodletters coming out quick time. I mean, honestly, Bloodletters are only held back on the Requisition at this point, not the power. But definitely the marks and the upgrades to the Sorcerer. Blood Rain's really missing his power farm at this point. If he can get Zinch Marines fully upgraded plus Chains of Torment, that's going to be really awkward to deal with. Because they obviously will melt the ASM if they can shoot them. Normally, obviously, they won't be able to shoot them because the ASM will just jump on top of them. That's what Chains of Torment is all about. Now, Blood Rain's going to try and return the Gem Bash with a Blood Crusher, but honestly, the Blood Crusher's damage modifier against buildings is just not very good. I mean, you know, it's okay, it's getting it slowly, but yeah, this is not a quick Gem Bash. I mean, Cry's not going to be able to contest it because he has no AV, so he is going to get the Bash, but he's taking a lot of time to do it, and it means he can't actually protect his own natural farms. So he's losing that, which is bad, because now he's even more power behind. He really needs to drop some power down here, but I guess Cry's probably trying to save up for Bloodletters. He seems to be bleeding a fair bit. He obviously paid 150 requisition for the Rod of Warpfire. It's quite expensive, that war gear. It's not bad, though. If we look at the Warpfire ability, it does plasma cannon damage, which has a bonus modifier against heavy infantry, so it can actually do really nicely. Yeah, here we go. Robes of Torment. Yeah, I do like this combo. The Rod of Warpfire is actually really good against melee as well. Even things like ASM, because of that plasma cannon modifier, it does do a good spike of damage, but it's just the ability to have knockback on demand is so valuable. Tactical Marines are sneaking around again trying to get the Gem Bash. They're not going to have time though. Might even lose a model for it. It was worth the attempt, I suppose. Natural, fully matured natural requisition point has been decapped. Scouts retreat out, no models lost. So this is some pretty good play by Cry here. They do lose a model in the end, but it's no big deal. Scouts aren't expensive. At the end of the day, the tax and the ASM aren't losing models, they're the expensive ones. So what do we see? We see the Devastator squad, which is presumably going to be upgraded to a las cannon now that Crisis is in tier 2. He's dropped a gen down on the other side, which I think Blood Rain's going to move over and try and kill. Blood Rain's dropped one gen over here on this natural gen farm. Now that's one thing that Crisis wants to do in the future. He wants to send his tax, probably supported by an ASM, to bash that gens, and he will put himself in a decent little spot then. No requisition at the moment, unfortunately, for a las dev. Here it comes, but it's kind of at an awkward angle. The Blood Crusher just have to move slightly to the left, and the las cannon's not going to be able to hit it. Ooh, Rod of Watfire here on these attacks could be brutal. Do it! Do it! Even on retreat, he could get it. Yeah, the Apo's moving in for the heal, but he's a little bit too late. Rod of Watfire does come in. I don't think that Rod of Watfire hit flush. Maybe it did. It doesn't fucking matter. Attack squad's wiped. Yeah, I mean, I called that. Wow, and the Apo ends up getting absolutely mauled by that Blood Crusher. What happened to the last devs? I don't know. I guess they got forced off by Noise Marines or something. And ASM are over here bashing. Yeah, not ideal. You obviously want the tax doing that. But the tax are dead now, so they're not going to do it. And 3 gens are now down, so Blood Rain can start the comeback from here. He's kind of got most of the upgrades he needs. I mean, he hasn't got CSM yet, so he still needs more power from that. But I think Requisition is going to start holding him back now because he's bleeding a lot of Heretics. And obviously, as you guys I'm sure are aware, as the game goes on, Heretics just bleed more and more and more. This is not a good engagement for Crisis. Fighting the entire blob, and he just doesn't have the advantage. I can't believe he is taking this engagement when there is a demonic summoning there. He's actually going to kill the Blood Crusher. Wow, that was so ballsy. Where was the Sorcerer? The Sorcerer was in the middle of it, so he couldn't warp out the Blood Crusher. Wait, hang on. Oh, right, yeah, the UI is bugged. I was going to say, has he got a second one? No, so, okay, what did he lose? He lost his scouts there as well. Yeah, this is problematic. There is a serious loss of capping power for Crisis at the moment. CSM on the sidelines constantly. I'd like to see the CSM upgraded with the Mark of Zinch on priority and get them in the main fights. Use these Heretics more for side capping. Having the 2 Heretics in the main fights is just not a good idea. You feed the opponent so much XP, which on ASM is really, really important. Misses the Rod of Warfire, unfortunately, there. And not only do you feed him XP, you also just bleed your economy as well. He really needs some more units, does Blood Rain. Bloodletters would be the obvious thing here, they'd do amazing. That power melee modifier against the ASM, and only being 4 models at a reasonable amount of HP, they don't take too much damage from the Rights, they don't take too much damage from Merciless Strike. In contrast, Heretics, they're just going to get gibbed by it. But Chains of Torment, Zinch Marines, Bloodletters, that's going to kill the ASM a lot easier. Just use your Heretics for capping. There's not even any scouts either to troll the Heretics as well, so it's kind of ideal. Nice use of the last dev, doing what it can at the moment. Not really anything to cap on this side of the map, so he's just going to try and gem bash with it. Wow, really ballsy jump with those ASM, Jesus Christ. He's going to use Angels of Death. The Apo's probably moving in for a heal. Now the Apo's going in the wrong direction, and now the Apo's potentially disrupted by the Cacophony. This isolates the ASM. Now he does get the heal off, and with the Angels of Death, wow, that's just wiped a Heretic squad. I don't think we even seen a Merciless Strike here, but you can just see the sheer power of these ASM with the Angels of Death, and look at their XP now. I just looked at them, and they were level 1 and level 2. All of a sudden, they're level 2, level 3. Wow, what a great engagement for Crisis. I was shocked when I seen them moving in as well. Okay, now he's dropping loads of models. What is he doing? Get out. Wow, and he actually snipes the CS. I didn't see the Apo in there because of the booked lost icon. Nice Merciless Strike coming out. Bloodletters are finally on the field, but look at this. Ticks are bleeding even more. ASM at level 3, Apo's level 4. Both ASM are nearly level 3. Okay, this one's close, but not quite. Are they going in for some retreat kills? Yeah, they'll probably get some. Oh no, he didn't micro them properly. You've got to hit the S key for the stop command. Don't just like right click your opponent, because if you right click your opponent, you will do that little passive teleport into combat, and then they'll be too slow to attack. Nice pick up on the Apo there. Did use Larimer's Blessing to revive him. So that's cool. That was a decent little engagement for Crisis. It was worth it even though he lost 2 ASM models, 100%. But he has sunk all of his red into that. Wow, he's even jumping out of base. Jesus Christ, he's very keen. So he sunk all of his red into the Larimer's Blessing and the Angels of Death. So now he doesn't have any of that. He does have a fully upgraded Apo though, and I like this kit. combat stimulants, which grants plus damage and damage resistance, which is really cool. Great for those melee fights on your ASM. And the Power Axe, which gives the APO a little bit more HP, but crucially, does that energy draining on hit as well. Great against the Bloodletters. It fuels him being able to spam more of his abilities, but it also stops the Bloodletters being able to phase out of combat when things don't go their way. Probably like to see a Blastmaster at some point, just use it defensively. I guess maybe not, because it is just going to get jumped. But you could even just leave it here, protected by base turrets, and cover your natural VP and the natural wreck. That wouldn't be a waste, especially if you've only got 1 or 2 models. Bloodletters don't want to take the fight against the ASM unsupported, of course. Certainly if the ASM get the jump on them and start it off with the Bloodletters being on their ass. Yeah, with all the support here from the APO and such, this is not a good fight. CSM still going around with no mark. I don't like this. Even the Mark of Khorne, if you're going to use them to sidecap, would be really nice. Just speed them up, give them that extra regen. Make them actually a little bit of a threat to the ASM. Nice warp fire there. ASM taking a lot of damage. I assume there's no heal or he would have used it, right? But Bloodletter's taking a lot of damage themselves. Fortunately, not enough energy drain to stop them doing the warp shift in that instance. Librarian on the field now. Pretty cool. I don't dislike that. Merciless Strike goes down. Wow, a Dreadnought. That's an interesting choice. Given that there are double Melter Bombs and a Las Cannon still, I don't know how I feel about the Dreadnought choice. I think I would have banked my power. I feel like Blood Rain really needs his power for other things like tier 3, rather than getting a Dreadnought out. And honestly, I'd really like to see Zinch Marines, or just some sort of mark on the CSM. Don't get me wrong, the default CSM aren't bad, but just in this case, when you're fighting against mostly just double ASM, they're the main combat threats. Just get a mark and use the ticks to sidecap. Stop using the ticks in combat. Guess he doesn't really have a choice now because he's lost one of the ticks and he's got to use the other one to repair the Dreadnought. I don't like the Dreadnought pick. I would have liked to have seen more Bloodletters. Especially after Crisis seeing the Librarian. I guess his concern is that if he relies on another Bloodletter squad, he suddenly is relying on 2 power melee infantry jump units for most of his army composition, so then what does he do if Crisis pulls out a Razorback? But I don't really think that's a legitimate concern, because the Chaos Sorcerer's AV is just so strong as it is. I like the use of Warp Fire. I think that was a really cool pick. Knocking the ASM backwards in the middle of the fight is very cool. Oh, we tried to do some Gate of Infinity cheese there, but that was not very good. Teleports the Lazdev forward, which teleports them into the Chains of Torment and the Khorne Dread. So, I mean, Khorne Dread, like, I get it, yeah, obviously, the classic counter to the Tier 2 SM is to get Chains of Torment plus Khorne Dread. But the problem is that Blood Rain has been bashed so much that he doesn't have a lot of power. To spend 150 power on a Khorne Dread is questionable to me. I just don't think it's worth it in this instance. I think another Bloodletter squad would have been better. We'll see though, we'll see how it goes. Both players are pretty power starved, to be honest. They've not been able to secure their gen farms for a long time at all. So I don't think this is going to be going into tier 3 anytime soon. Noise Marines seem to be on capping duty. I guess that's alright. They don't really do much in the main fights. Noise Marines are hard counted by ASM big time. And he'd rather have them on capping duty at the moment rather than protecting his VP. Speaking of VPs, VPs are very even. You can definitely see how this game could go on for quite a while. This is a real SM versus CSM slug-off, isn't it? Alright, now he's getting the Blastmaster. I guess he's getting sick of this natural requisition point being capped. To be honest, I would have as well. It's a nice upgrade because Noise Marines really do start to bleed quite a lot when you're fighting against double ASM. You can jump them very easily. It's nice to just be able to take micro attention away from that unit. Some pretty horrible friendly fire there. butchering the heretics. Oh my god, the friendly fire. I mean, they're reinforcing off the... what's this called again? Demonic summoning. Oh god, brutal Blastmaster shot onto the devs there. Might even wipe them out from the Sorcerer. No, he doesn't get his melee charge. Oh, he mismicroed it. Now the Sorcerer goes down thanks to that timely jump from the ASM. He's using Dark Flames. That is a very questionable Dark Flames. What's that all about? Wow, the Blastmaster is putting in some fucking work. What's going on here? Oh, the Khorne Dread's really low. I got them mixed up. Wow, how is the Khorne Dread so low? I don't understand. The last dev must have got loads of shots in. You guys will be able to replay this engagement back and see what the hell happened to get the Khorne Dread so low. But it takes it nonetheless. Blood Rage is too strong. I don't really know why the SM Dread was trying to duel with the Khorne Dread. I mean, look, he got close, so whatever. It was a play that Cry went for. 89 HP left on the K-Dread. It was obviously a close call. You know, that's only one Melta Bomb. That would have been a dead K-Dread. Ah, look at the last devs coming back out with one model. I can't believe they lived. There's obviously a lot going on in that engagement, though. Oh, Heretics got wiped again in spite of the demonic summoning. So we did actually see both of the army versus army engagement global winners there. That was a weird term. I tried to use some terminology there. But I like to use the term army versus army or AVA engagements. That was clearly an AVA engagement. It's when, you know, there's lots of little engagements like this which are skirmishing engagements in Dawn of War 2 in relation to the peripheries of the map and capping the points and getting general map control. Then you have like timing pushes against the gen farms. But then you have army versus army engagements, which most units perform better when they're in a blob, so it's optimal to move your army around in mostly a blob with a couple of capping units, rather than splitting everything up evenly. And what that means is when both players do it, you often get army versus army engagements, which is like where 80% of your force, which is meant to be all of your, with all the synergies, the actual fighting composition, come together for a big fight. That's your army versus army engagement like that there. Now certain globals provide utility to you in certain instances, like for example the Sanctify global of the Ordo Malleus. That's just good in many different instances. There's no real application in which it's very good. Same with Larimer's Blessing for the Apothecary. It's only if you lose your APO it's good. But then there are certain globals that are specifically designed for army versus army engagements, and they are AVA winners. An example of that would be the Angels of Death or Demonic Summoning. These are globals that are just extremely powerful, either map global buffs or localized buffs, but they're so strong that they will generally ensure that you win an army versus army engagement over an enemy that doesn't use them. And that's a good example of them. Every Chaos hero has an AVA global, which is really good. Not all heroes have AVA globals, and they are some of the best globals in the game. And naturally, if you're in an engagement where you really want to win it, you will often counter the opponent's AVA global with your AVA global. So that's something to look out for. Now in this instance we see another demonic summoning. I guess Blood Rain is floating a shitload of red. Wow, these guys are just screaming for Khorne. Jesus, guys. He's floating a lot of red, so obviously he just felt like using the demonic summoning there. I don't think that was really necessary, because I don't think that was an army versus army engagement. It was just where Christ sort of fallen in with his units, but he didn't actually want to take that fight at all. He was just trying to ensure a safe retreat, so kind of a wasted demonic summoning, and that's why we didn't see any Angels of Death to counter it from Cry. Still no mark on the CSM. I really don't like it. I mean, look at the damage they just did to the ASM. To be completely blunt, the damage was absolutely inconsequential. These bolters against level 4 ASM, I mean, it's just nothing. You need to get your Mark of Tzeentch, Inferno Ballers. Christ playing it well. He knows he can't take these central engagements, not when everything's blobbed up together and you've got the Robes of Torment and the K-Dread. But he's sending the ASM around the peripheries, trying to just split up Blood Rain's force. Blood Rain's actually trying to go tech free, but he's got no power, so I don't know how good that is. Yeah, I think he needs to replace his power before he decides to do that. Though he could start the tech free now and then make a point of trying not to bleed and replacing the power as he's taking. It does take a while to get that tick up. Yeah, Bloodletters need to get out of there. Not in a good position, caught isolated. Last Cannon plus Miltabone comes down on the K-Dread, and the K-Dread's kind of unsupported at the moment. Ooh, nice Rod of Warpfire disrupts the Last Cannon, that's all it needs. We've got Veil of Time for the Last Cannon. Libby's actually walking up too far, needs to use Quickening and turn around. I assume he's got Quickening. Ooh, nice heal from the Apo. That is a big fat heal. What level is that Apo? Level 5, yeah, that's why, so it's a double buffed heal. Will the Khorne Dread live, or will it die? It dies. Wow, beautiful. So, wow, there wasn't even a Veil of Time as well. I'm quite shocked that took it out. Because that was a nice little Warpfire to disrupt the Last Cannon. But even with that play, the Khorne Dread goes down. And honestly, this puts Crisis in a pretty good spot. So, Bloodrain's actually opted to replace the Dreadnought. You see, I don't agree with this. I really think you should be going tier 3. Go tier 3, and obviously you need to replace your gens, so you're not going to get anything crazy out in tier 3. Lightning Claw Terminators right now would be so good. There's literally nothing to stop them. Obviously, if you had Lightning Claw Terminators right now, the game would be over in favour of Bloodrain. Christ, it would be fucked. I mean, he is getting a melee Dreadnought out, which I guess would be good against Lightning Claw Terminators, but it's slow. Melee Dreadnought would have to go wherever the Terminators go, and then you've got Bloodletters and potentially Mark of Khorne CSM would be amazing on the sidelines if they're level 4. Be able to tango with his ASM quite easily. I don't know why he's not getting them. I am a little bit triggered by the lack of marks on these CSM. So again, we're going to see how inconsequential the CSM are in the combat. Bit of a questionable jump there from the ASM. Another demonic summoning coming down. But I don't see the point of the demonic summoning. I mean, this should be a completely sound engagement for Bloodrain anyway, so I really don't think the demonic summoning is necessary. Compositionally, what is the threat here? Like, you already routed one of the ASM because it jumped in a bit prematurely. Dreadnought has no ability to kill the K-Dread. Wow, honestly, this Blastmaster is putting in some giant work, level 4. K-Dread possibly overextending here. CS is really far back though, so it shouldn't really matter. I think he's just going to keep him in as long as possible and then walk him out. Bloodletters need to retreat. Ooh, Librarian risk going down again. Missed Micro, he should be using Quickening. No, he didn't use Quickening. Oh, he uses Angels of Death to try and save him. Is he going to save him? Will he do the right click? Oh, it doesn't matter, he gets the heal. That Angels of Death wasn't necessary. He didn't actually get hit after he got to 4 HP. And I don't think 50% damage resistance is going to change much. I mean, that gives him an effective 6 HP. You know what I mean? This is scrappy. Khorne Dreadnought is in the middle of the base. Could have easily wiped out the scouts, but chooses not to. Should be able to bleed another model off the ASM. Yep. Might even be able to take out the last dev. Wow. Clutch. Cry's economy is absolutely ruined from this engagement. But nonetheless, he's playing it okay. Okay, he has the scouts wiped. The Dreadnought went down at some point. Veil of Time is on the last devs. We need to see the warp out. For some reason, the K Sorcerer has entered the engagement. Oh my god. Blood Rain. He obviously went into that fight with the idea that he would keep the Khorne Dread into the fight for as long as possible, then get out and teleported away with the CS. The engagement went on for longer than expected, so he moved... Fucking Blastmaster's power level is just over 9,000 right now. What the hell? Wipes out a CSM who was already in retreat and kills the Apothecary. But yeah, the fight went on clearly longer than he expected, so he moved the CS in to support, and then obviously he forgot that, oh shit, now my K-Dread's in base and my CS is right next to it. I can't whop it out anymore. Sloppy players, if I'm honest with you, but at the end of the day, he did wipe out the scouts, he wiped out the Dreadnought, so it's not an awful position, but the real crucial units in Crisis's army, this Librarian and the double ASM, they're still here. Oh, maybe not. Gate of Infinity from about 4 range away.
This is not the victory you promised us.
Not sure this is a fight that the Bloodletters want to be taking. Very lucky that they have the energy for Fear Shift there, or they would have been bleeding a lot of models. Both players are just bleeding so much. Again, another demonic summoning. Jesus Christ, Bloodrain, you're very liberal about this. I mean, this is not, by any stretch of the imagination, an army versus army engagement. That was a complete waste of time. I do not understand why he did that. Oh my god, this is getting very frantic. Dark Flames completely misses the last devs. Oh, I've just realised how bad the VPs are. Oh my god, is this the end of the game? No. Blue is Blood Rain. Jesus Christ. Has Cry just thrown it because he really wanted to win the game on VPs? Wow, he really needs to chill out. He's doing fine. There's only 13 VPs. Relax, my man. Oh my god. Cry is just rushing for the VPs. If he throws this now, because he rushed for the VPs, I'm going to be pissed. Dude needs to chill the fuck out. He's got Blood Rain down to 13 VPs and he's got over 200 himself. There is plenty of time to split him up. It's a shame he doesn't have any scouts, but he's still got loads of mobility with the Librarian and double ASM. Nice Gates of Infinity there. Does a good amount of damage and disruption to the Chaos Force and then gets straight out of there without losing any models. Level 7 Apo. Level 6 Chaos Sorcerer. So many dead Marines. Worship when? Slot CSM trying to act like they're relevant. Oh man. These CSM trigger me so hard. If they were Corn Marines, this would just be such a good engagement. Even Zeech Marines, man. They're just not doing any damage. Level 4 Zeech Marines are insane. I've not seen many Doombots recently. Nice Robes of Torment. Really caught Crisis by surprise there. Wow. Look at that. Wipes under the ASM instantly. Because he probably was waiting for energy to jump out, but as soon as that Robes of Torment comes down, you can't jump out of it. You're stuck. It's pretty brutal. If you don't expect it to come like that, perfect timing. Finally takes out one of those ASM. I bet this is going to be a comeback for Blood Rain. I can see it now. This is getting ridiculous. Drop Pod Tax got called down because Cry again really desperately wanted to just get the VPs. I mean, you can tell that Cry is just really stressing out right now about the fact that he's got Blood Rain so close to defeat but can't quite finish him off. What he doesn't want to do is expend all of his mental energy trying to finish him off when he's had such a lead. It's just so unnecessary. Oh, here comes 9,000 power level Blastmaster. Just some nice damage to the heroes. Jumped up by the ASM, might actually wipe at this point. No, it's like they're going to just live. They don't go for the chase, they just want to disrupt the CSM. Another demonic summoning. This is more of a pivotal engagement to use it in, but the thing is, there's not really any, it's not a centralised fight. Oh my god. Heretics come out and are just wiped instantly. Fucking hell, so much requisition bleed. This is why I think it would have been better to just go tier 3 instead of getting all these dreadnoughts. Oh, fuck! Oh, what? Oh, for Slanesh. That was fucking beautiful. those ASM just got completely minced. Fucking hell, level 4 Blastmaster. Yeah, Slanesh is singing in your ears right now, Noise Marines. That was beautiful. Jesus, that must have been so satisfying. I hope Blood Rain actually caught that with his own eyes in game. Because those ASM must have been pissing him off something proper. God, I liked that. Fuck, I can't wait for Slanesh and Total Warhammer 3. Well, that might have been the game-winning play, or maybe not, because now there's a Dreadnought on the field. And there's absolutely no AV for Blood Rain right now, because he has double Bloodletters, and he's lost both of his Dreadnoughts. The best AV is the Blastmaster, which I swear to God has done most of the damage to the previous two Dreadnoughts. It looks like that's going to be game, actually, because Crisis has managed to secure both of the VPs. There's under 7 seconds, so I don't think he's got the time. Ippo tries to stop the cap with rights, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's too late. Oh, it doesn't matter, he gets a special anyway. He wouldn't have had the time. You've got to start the cap when it's on 7 seconds, when there's a 2-to-1 cap. Otherwise you won't have the time to get the decap and you'll lose. So, that's game over. Wow. I'm a little bit disappointed that Blood Rain didn't make the comeback now after seeing that play, but that was just fucking beautiful with the Blastmasters, God. Yeah, I mean, I can't even recall all of the mistakes. Let's be real, guys, this was a fucking fast-paced game. You can tell this was high-level play. There was just shit going on constantly, non-stop action. And obviously it led to a lot of misplays. The Dark Flames over here was particularly funny. The Lasdevs got down to like 90 HP over 3 models. Then there was a Warpfire which completely missed them. I think maybe it hit 1 model or something. Then there was an Angels of Death after the Lasdevs were on 70 HP, which is not going to make a difference. Just like down here when the Libri was on 4 HP and there was an Angels of Death. Right, so you just increased his HP from 4 to 6. Good stuff, that's really going to help him. So then, yeah, there was an Angels of Death on like 60 HP Lasdevs. And then there was a Dark Flames, which hit like over here when the Lasdevs were here. It completely missed. Because there was just so much shit going on everywhere that you could tell the guys were frantically spamming globals and abilities, trying to get wipes. But like, yeah, it just wasn't working. So, pretty cool game. Wow, yeah, very intense. Cool to see double ASM, honestly. I mean, double ASM is obviously a great build with the APO, but to do it against Chaos Sorcerer, that is bold. Chaos Sorcerer is 100% one of the best heroes to counter that with. I think there were some big strategic misplays from Blood Rain in particular. I would have liked to have seen double Bloodletters ages before, and oh my god, I cannot stop saying how much I wanted to see marks on the CSM. That would have made them so much more effective against the heavy infantry armor of the ASM. But a great game all around. I hope that you enjoyed it, Crisis, after demanding that I cast this for so long. Yeah, I'd say it was worth it. That was a good replay. Nice high level one as well. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Top it out.